Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining with us. All right, I have Dennis ONeill. He is the owner of ONeill Capital Advisors. This man has raised well over $2 billion in his career for private equity. He's focusing on cryptocurrencies, blockchain. Dennis, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's always a pleasure to be on your show.
I'm glad you're here. All right, you're here to talk about what ONeill Capital does, but let's drill down into that. Let's start with some background on you, what ONeill Capital does, and then I want to talk to you about what you're doing with security tokens these days and some other questions.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, Michael, my background is 25 years of investment banking. I helped start two of the largest regional investment banks in Chicago, Madison, Securities, and Advanced Equities. And then I ran the Softbank Investments E2 Capital office here in Chicago. So I've raised a little bit over $2 billion over the past 30 years or so. And I've been involved in taking over 70 companies public. I have spoken at dozens of private equity venture capital and small cap conferences in the US and globally. And now I'm considered to be a thought leader on cryptocurrency, blockchain, and security token offerings. I've spoken at 25 conferences globally. And basically what we do is that I'm the CEO of ONeill Capital Advisors, which is a institutional financial marketing platform. We have over 40,000 institutional type investors, typically family offices, money managers, hedge funds, crypto, pretty much anybody that manages between 50 million and $2 billion. And we do private equity, venture capital, and security token offering capital introductions. We can also do a full gamut of everything, everywhere from tokenizing or setting up your security token offering, legal representation and documentation, banking, helping you set up banks offshore, things of that sort. But that's basically what we do. We do capital introductions for qualified companies.
Tell me about the current industry, the state of the current industry for security tokens.
Sure. I think that it's important for us to at least touch base on what's happened that led us into the security token offerings. Obviously we had the initial coin offerings or ICOs. Which was that hot new growing market, but they were unregulated, which was a recipe for disaster. There was a tremendous amount of unqualified deals funded and a lot of fraud within that market, which led to security token offerings, which are fully regulated securities. Depending on which market you're in, you register in that jurisdiction. So the market, 2019 was a little bit disappointing because I think that there was two factors that were running against the security token offerings. One was that the continued the fallout from the ICOs, and then the other side was that private equity, venture capital, and the public stock markets were doing very well, so they didn't feel there wasn't a point of a capitulation or a reason to change what they were doing. I think that going into 2020 now, I think we're in a state to where that we have major players which have stepped into this market. Templeton has, tokenized one of their funds. Fidelity is active in the market. We're starting to see security token offerings. There's over 30 exchanges which are approved now, and we're seeing a flurry of activity everywhere outside the United States. The hottest markets in the world today are Asia. China is the world leader in blockchain tokenization, and now they're moving into security token offerings. They have 500 companies that are approved by the government for blockchain and capital investments, either private equity or security token offerings. which is big. Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea. They have moved forward with regulations that to where that you can operate security token offerings with full regulatory support, which is great news. I guess the issue we have in the United States, the SEC is still approving one out of every 1,000 deals that they have. They're dragging their feet. They're running up large legal fees for these early stage companies, and they're it's taking a significant amount of time to get these deals approved. So what people are doing right now is that even if you're operating in the United States, that you incorporate offshore, either somewhere in Europe or somewhere in Asia. And then you get your security token offering approved within those regulatory markets. And then once they're approved, then you can actually raise money out of the United States under a Reg D offering. So that's on the security token offering. Okay, hold on. I've got another follow-up, but go ahead.
Well, I know that Malta is a huge place of business for you, and I know that there's a lot of business that happens over there. What is the holdup here in the United States? How do we streamline it, and where do you see this industry sector going?
Something in the United States, we have a major issue because the SEC prosecuted every ICO that which was done here in the U.S. They made over $4 billion in fines, so it became a for-profit business for them. And now we're in a position to where that because that this is very, very disruptive to the entrenched interests. The large banks, large investment banks, credit card companies, credit card processing companies, and all those ancillary businesses. This is a major disruption to that. But the way around this is that you incorporate offshore, you get approved offshore, and then you do a Reg D here in the U.S. And that's actually happening, and that's been working very, very well. The other side of this market, which I think is really, really significant, and where the real growth in this market seems to be happening right now, is in tokenizing assets like real estate, bond funds, things of that sort. According to the World Economic Forum, there's going to be $27 trillion in assets tokenized in the next 7 years. So you're talking about a hockey stick, second to none, that we've never seen before. It's like the fourth wave of the economic revolution, and we're starting to see. I mean, China just had $50 billion in bonds tokenized, they turn into security token offerings, and now you're starting to see all these other markets that are looking to tokenize all kinds of real estate assets and things of that sort. So the world is moving to tokenizing assets first and foremost, and the advantage of that is that it's just a better, cheaper, faster, safer, 100% transparent, with an immutable record. So they're going to tokenize, like, let's say $100 million real estate a building for $100 million. They can chop this up into $25,000 tokens, to where that the average investor may be able to afford $25,000, and that you'd be able to buy and sell that real estate 24/7, 365 days of the year, without having any attorneys involved, without any transfer title companies, transfer agents, or anything like that, realtors. So this is basically, blockchain kills all the middlemen, and it makes it just that much faster, cheaper, and safer to do business, because a lot of times the middlemen either hold up, drag out, and make it more expensive, or that there is some type of corrupt forces within there.
So the feeling that I'm getting is foreign investments seem to be the wave of the future until the SEC stops taking fines as a for-profit path, and being able to back the cryptocurrency that you're talking about with hard assets, whether it's real estate or it's oil and gas or it's precious metals or something of that nature, versus the old method when it first the Wild West of it was you're basing your cryptocurrency on an idea. Now you're backing it with hard assets, something that's more tangible. Am I on the right page with you?
Yeah, I mean, that is where the biggest, fastest, and more liquid, that's where the market's really liquid right now. Those are tokenized assets. The security token offerings are starting to get traction, but it's far from where anybody would have expected it. And I think that this year will be a breakout year for financing earlier stage companies, via security token offerings. A lot of these deals that are happening are financing the exchanges and investment banks that are going to be funding these deals. So I think the infrastructure is in place now. I think that we're going to start seeing a lot more activity, and I think that you can still access money from the U.S. markets. It's just that you got to do it through a Reg D offering and incorporating and registering offshore.
Very interesting.
At least, I mean, as of now, yeah.
Yes, I'm kind of curious now because how a economic development entity that would deal with municipalities would figure into tokenization. Just curious, just throwing a thought out there. Hey, Dennis, so we got to run, but thanks for being a guest today.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Michael. Always loved being on your show. Thanks.
Me too. Love having you as a guest. All right, you've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining with us. Don't forget, download our new CEO Money app. Just go to the homepage of WFN1. Download the app. You'll see it right there. Thanks for joining. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.